Another Ask Philip. This is for April 5th, 2024. And I've got some exciting announcements before we get into the Q&A today. The first one is that, of course, there's a new podcast episode out every Friday, every Tuesday. Those are the full-length episodes. Usually Tuesdays a solo episode, and usually Friday is a guest interview, but sometimes Friday can also be a solo episode. And then there's fun bonus episodes in between. Today's episode is with Jay Feldman, and it is about bioenergetic health. Very cool discussion here. We got into just about everything related to mental health, metabolism, longevity, carbs, calories, really everything, brain health, mental health, physical health, all of that. And tied to cellular energy. This isn't a woo thing. This is based on our physiology, just some interesting perspective to explore. So definitely go check that out. Follow the podcast so you get future episodes. The next announcement is that today is the big pre-sale or pre-launch for Wits Weights Physique University. So I'm reminding you right now, you actually, if you go to this form, which I'm going to include in a link in the description of this video, whether you're watching in the Facebook group or on YouTube, it's your last chance to get notified at 1 p.m. Eastern today for the pre-sale. There will be 10 slots at a ridiculously low price, and then the remaining slots available at the normal pre-launch price before the price goes up in a few weeks. But this is a very exciting launch. If you want to get on the list and you're not already, and you want to get notified at 1 p.m. today instead of 9:30 on Monday, and that's for everyone who's on my email list. If you're not on my email list, you won't get notified until Monday either way. You go to this link, and again, I'm going to include that in the description. And then I just wanted to show you, when it comes out, you're going to be taken to a page that explains everything for you. So I tried to make this as detailed as possible, make it easy to understand exactly how it works, what's included, the done for you nutrition plan, the live coaching calls, the courses, the community, so many things. It is just about like having a one-on-one coach, but at a lower price in a group and community environment. And so this page is going to explain everything that's included, some of the bonuses you get, and then what else? And it's a sales page, right? So it's going to explain some of the different things that we cover in terms of principles in the course. You're going to see, what others have to say about it. It's backed by a 21-day guarantee, so that if you are not happy within the first 21 days, I'll give you your money back. No hassle whatsoever. And then, some testimonials in here and all that good stuff. So it tells you everything you need to know. There's frequently asked questions at the bottom, and that will be coming out later today. So I'm going to come out of full screen mode because I didn't want to share the URL. But if you want to go join the pre-sale list, I'm going to include the link in the notes for this video, but you could also go to witsandweights.com/join-WWPU-presale-list. Again, I don't expect you to remember all that or go type it in. I will have the link below. All right. So today's Ask Philip is, let's see. Okay. Today's Ask Philip, we have a single question from M, who I think joined recently. And M says, and by the way, this Ask Philip, I've mentioned it before, but if you're new to it, I would encourage you to read the rules specifically up here, because to get the most value out of this, I want you to include as much context for your specific situation so I can help you out. Sometimes the questions are more generic, and I get it. But definitely if you want your situation, specific situation addressed, you have to give me the details. So M, I see you have a question about glutes and knee issues. You said, is it possible to build muscle and glutes in particular in the late 40s perimenopausal age group? Asking as have knee issues and was told to build my glutes to reduce the pain. Okay, so this is kind of one of those questions where it depends. It depends to an extent. So the answer is yes, absolutely. You can build muscle in your glutes, all your muscles, to the age of 95 and 100. Okay, so you can build new muscle tissue anytime in your life. There's no excuse related to age, menopause, metabolism, gender. None of it matters. You can always build muscle. The body is primed to build muscle at any point, as long as you give it the training and the nutrition to do so, plus the recovery. Okay, now the knee issues. I want to focus on that for a second, because a lot of times people have knee issues because of bad form. So I don't know what your knee issues are. This is where, like, if you want to post a follow-up next week, you can be much more detailed as to the specifics. Like, what is your history? Was this from an injury? Are you recovering? Are you working with a PT, doctor? Is it surgery? Like, I don't know what you mean by knee issues, but I'm going to assume it's just general aches and soreness you have, which is very common, whatever your age. And a lot of times it's from poor form. And so before I even go to adding a bunch of exercises, right, building your glutes, building some, people always talk about muscle imbalances and supporting muscles and all that. Our body is a system, and it's meant to move in a system. It's meant to move in these movement patterns, right? Squats, hinges, pushes, pulls. And so if you're if you're not squatting at all, I would say squatting itself can be very good for the knees if done right. And for example, one of the things people do wrong when they low bar squat, for example, with a barbell, or even squat with dumbbells up on their shoulders, is their knees will just be too far forward. Their back is too vertical. They're off balance. And when you look at the barbell or you look at the dumbbells, they're not vertical. If you look at it from the side, they're, at an angle. And so that places a lot of load on your knees, and that can definitely cause knee issues. So sitting back, having a more horizontal back angle when you're doing the low bar squat, or having the proper form and keeping those dumbbells centered and really sitting back into it so your knees don't go forward is a great way to ensure healthy knees, because then the knees act as a pivot point rather than a load point, right? Instead of loading them, it's a pivot. Now, having said that, there are movements like the front squat and the safety bar squat and high bar squat where you are trying to develop your quads a little bit more, and there will be a little bit of load on the knees. But again, it should be minimal and enough that your knees adapt to it and feel okay. The other thing is you could definitely wear compression knee sleeves. I wear those now. They really help warm up the knees as you're squatting. And so I'm going to focus on form first. And one way you could get feedback on your form is you can post a video here in the group. Or, hey, if you're planning on joining Wits Weights Physique University, that's a great place to get a lot more attention and feedback on some of these issues to make sure that we are doing the right things for your knee issues. Now, if you just want to build glutes, that's a whole separate thing. I would say that there's for any muscle development and physique development. And by the way, I have an episode coming out on Tuesday about bodybuilding for everyday lifters, where I talk about some of these principles. You've got to have the basic foundational movements in there first, movement patterns. Generally, these are like the big compound lifts using barbells. They don't have to be exactly those lifts. They could be variations of them. But the point is your glutes will be engaged in a lot of these movements, such as the back squat and even the deadlift, right? But then you can throw in RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. You can throw in isolation work like cable pull throughs. Glute bridges, hip bridges, and stuff like that. But you don't have to go crazy with that stuff, and you can still build decent glutes. It depends on where you're starting from. Like if you're not doing the basics, I would get the basics in there and then start adding these other things in. Special surprise here. So I alluded to some of you in the community chat that I have a guest coming on who's going to talk all about glute training. And she's coming on, we're recording next week, and then it's going to come out probably a month after that. So I know you have to wait a bit for it, but her name is Sue Bush. You may recognize that name because she was the other expert contributor in the March issue of Body by Science, Dr. Bill Campbell's research review. And so she and I reached out and collaborated, and we're going on each other's podcast. Her podcast with her husband is called Physique Development. Obviously my podcast is Wits and Weights. You should know that by now, I would think, but if not, we're going to be on each other's show. She's coming on to talk about glute training. So all about the butt. All right. So that's why I was asking about the word butt. So I guess it's okay for most people to use that. And so anyway, I guess I'm going to plug her a little bit. If you want to go check out her podcast, Physique Development, she's had a couple episodes recently that are about, glute training. And a lot of her stuff is about glute training on Instagram and everything else. But again, get the basics down first. And then for the knees, make sure you're using good form, for example, on your squats or anything else that involves the knee hinging. Okay, that's it for today. So again, the exciting thing today is going to be the launch of Wits and Weights Physique University over the next few weeks, starting today with the pre-sale. You can definitely get on that list still. I'm giving you one last chance to get on there because you're following the community or you're following my YouTube channel. And then everyone else will get notified on Monday, and it'll be open for 2 weeks to join. It's going to be an incredible program. You know how dedicated I am to education and learning and applying these principles to you for your personal situation to get the best health, physique, fitness ever. And I've put everything, my heart and soul, my blood, sweat, tears into that. Giving you a lot of resources right out the gate to do that. And it's only going to get better over time. So get in early, get engaged. You're going to love it. And you're going to make tons of progress. So check that out. Check out the link below. We'll talk to you next week for Ask Philip. Definitely post your questions after Alan Friedman posts the post here later today. And I'll see you on the other side.